anyone here? Come on, people. I'm waiting for you. I know the irony. I'm wearing a Fender shirt and playing a G&L. I should get my Strat out, but it's in the other room. I got a haircut, see? I may, for Monday, I may go ahead and move these scales up to the next position. So we'll stay in G, but I'll show the minor pentatonic, which would be number 2, and then the D minor pentatonic, which would be number 4, and then the G minor 6 pentatonic, which would be kind of the only new one technically. And in fact, in this, from all of our lessons in the past, only one of those pentatonics is technically new. The G minor pentatonic and D minor pentatonic we've had before. One is number 1 and one is number 3. So it's not that big a deal to do that, to move up. The hard one will be learning the minor 6. But I love the sound of it. If I go, let me play up there for a little bit and see. I think that might be kind of fun. It depends. How's everyone doing on these shapes? Box. Oh, cat. Oh, it was a cat. Did the cat come by? I didn't even see that. Okay, Mr. Benny. Okay. So, let's see. You've got it down, Bob. You got these 3 scales down pretty good. What about you, Bruce? Have you been able to kind of get these? And again, just to go to the next section, to go to the next position, you're only going to have to learn 1 new scale. So I guess it's not a bad thing. Hey, Richard, you're on time. No, I'm done, actually. I'll see you guys later. No, I'm kidding. Also, it's Friday the 13th, 2020. What's going to happen? Are we going to have an earthquake while I sit here doing my live stream? Okay, well, so good. So going up, really technically what I could do is just show you all the different minor pentatonic or minor 6 pentatonic shapes, but I'd rather do it in the context of music. Always. In fact, one of my favorite comments I've gotten on my YouTube channel is that someone said, and it's conscious that I'm doing this, but it's nice to have it recognized. But somebody said that I don't teach how to play music, I teach how to make music. And that's really, because think about it, when I started my channel, Pro Guitar Secrets, the idea was to help players, and keep in mind, this is therapy for me, because guitar players by their nature are very insecure and very competitive. And it's difficult but the notion to give away secrets is kind of goes against the grain for most guitar players. There's even guitar players that when they do their famous when they do their lick or whatever that that they've been working on. Even Eddie Van Halen would do this. He would turn his back to the audience so they couldn't see what he was doing before they came out. And even when I was watching Tim Pierce's thing, and when he saw them live in like '75 on Sunset Boulevard at what's the name of that place? It begins with a G. Anyway, they didn't sound like he wasn't doing the tapping stuff. He didn't do that at all. He was saving that for the record, and he wanted to launch that as a new thing. Because there were guitar players coming in and out every day to watch him play, and he was afraid somebody would beat him to it. So, Santa, good to see you. Hi from Croatia. Awesome. Croatia. Sorry, I'm gonna pull up a map. I have been told by a friend of mine that their favorite place to go in the world is Croatia. And so Beth and I put it very high on our list. Are you in Zagreb or are you on the coast? Because it's, like I said, I'm so bummed, with the whole COVID thing. With the whole COVID thing, it's like travel. It just seems like it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. And with it increasing in the U.S., and it's just natural, it's a virus. It's going to do what it's going to do. He said as he coughed. I have a feeling a lot of people aren't going to want Americans coming to their country. So, weird. Charlie B., what did you say? Yeah, I thought about maybe there's Beth and I are thinking about going. I would love to go to Budapest, and I thought, we could do Budapest and Prague, or I thought we could do Budapest and drive to Croatia, and like that drive from Budapest to Zagreb. About a third of it is along the side of this giant long lake that you probably know the name of. And I can look it up right now, but it looks like a beautiful lake, and there's all these little cute little villages all along there. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so adorable. So I thought, well, I have yet to drive in Europe. I've always been afraid to drive and rent a car and everything like that. But, hey, Chris. It's weird. It says, on Charlie B's, it says, message deleted by the Google moderator team. What the heck does that mean? It wasn't deleted by any of us. Maybe it was a typo. Okay. Anyway, that I would love to do, but really what I want to see is the coast of Croatia. I hear that's beautiful, and I would love to, to be able to drive up and down that. I think that would be really cool. So, I hear it's an amazing country, and when we can travel again, we'll do it. I'm hoping to go to London next fall, but that's a year from now. So, for work. And then I'll bring Beth with me for that. But that would be a different trip. We might do Scotland on that trip as well. Or Ireland. But it could be October, November. So it's going to be freaking cold. It's cold no matter when you go to Scotland, I understand. So, okay, so Monday I will write out the 3 new shapes in this position, okay? And then we can practice that, and we'll just kind of woodshed that. Woodshed just means to go and practice it. I think the origin of woodshed it may come from, my recollection is it had something to do with Charlie Parker. And when you play a horn instrument, you're bugging people. Charlie Parker in New York City, he would go out on the Brooklyn Bridge and practice. And just practice his scales and all sorts of stuff all day long. And I idolized Charlie Parker. I mean, he died before I was born, but you know what I mean. I just really love his playing and his approach to his phrases and his ability to navigate through chord progressions on the fly, like complex jazz chord progressions, blew me away. And I think the term woodshed came from him or someone in that era. Where they would go into the shed to practice so they wouldn't bug anybody. So I even had a tenant in the building we managed in Pasadena that She she's a great sax player. Oh my gosh, she was so good. Still good, I'm sure. I haven't heard her play in years, but she was going to USC, and she bought one of those vocal booths so she could practice and not bug her neighbors. And I just thought that was the coolest thing to do. That was so considerate because you live in a city and you don't expect it to be quiet, but at the same time you don't expect to hear saxophone practice for 6 hours a day. Right now, right next door to us, we have a string quartet that's been practicing outside 1 day a week for a couple hours with a piano and PA setup and everything. It's like really loud. I'm like, wow, okay, that's crazy. Yeah, Charlie, why did you get, oh, that could be it. That's so weird. Okay, so we're playing in G blues. We did a lesson before here, and all of these diagrams are up on our Discord. I'm going to post a link. I'm going to use the new link. I got to open up Safari. Hold on. I'll use the new link. Is Dennis here? But Dennis created a new link that takes you to a welcome page, and that way you can kind of see the rules. Because what the heck? I didn't open Firefox. That's crazy. No. Sorry, hold on. The computer's acting a little weird today. All right. My camera wasn't working. I had to reboot. I also did a Twitch thing. Oh, maybe that's what happened. I may have done the Twitch thing. Okay, so introductions. Okay, here we go. Oh, I love it that you guys are doing little introductions in here. So that's awesome, Dennis. And I had Holly and Dennis were at my Twitch page. Okay, so okay. You've invited, hold on. Where's the link? Oh, okay, here it is. Sorry, I got it. All right, so this is the link to the Discord page, not Twitch, sorry. And the Discord I will upload all diagrams. Did I upload? I did upload the Pentatonics, right? They're up there. Let me just make sure. And those are in Tom's bookmarks. And yeah, they're here. And I will do new ones for Monday in the next position up, okay? And we'll just play up there for maybe two lessons. Like I said, I want to kind of shed it. Next Friday, I will not be here, I think. I might do a remote, but it just depends. Beth has finally got a break, and we're going to get away. So we got 23 people on. That's awesome. Okay. And it's Friday the 13th, 2020. Bum, bum, bum. I need a scary chord. What's a scary chord? That's not scary. That's James Bond. Scary chord. Not scary. Not scary. Dang it. What would be a good scary chord? Okay. I'm going to change guitars. Everybody take a sip. We have a drinking game, and if I change guitars, you get to take a drink. And I'm gonna change guitars twice, so. But I need a scary chord for Friday the 15th or 13th. Sorry, Friday the 13th. So this is my cluster guitar. All right, and you're like, what? Okay, check this out. If you haven't seen this, this is a cheap Squire. I buy them all the time. Anytime I find a Squire like for $75, I pick them up. Oh, good. You're ready to go, Holly. Then I'll try to touch my face a lot too. Those are all C's. Because I can do this. That's scary. It's called my cluster guitar because you can't. That's easy on piano. If you sit on a piano, you create this, but you can't do that on a guitar. It's physically impossible, even melodically impossible. So I call it my cluster guitar, and I use it. I'll use it for, oh, I got to close the Discord. Hold on. Boom. Okay. You know, I should do a little post. I'll do a little post on Facebook right now. Create post. It takes forever. Just in case anybody's like, oh, shoot, live. I'll come over. All right. So, yeah, so it's cool too if you like, you pedal in with reverbs and delays and everything sounds cool. Okay, so now I'm going to change guitars again. That was just to play a scary chord on the Friday the 13th. So you get to take another sip. Every time I change guitars, you take a sip. Hey, iced coffee. Hey, Ronnie. Good to see you. Richard Lawson, good to see you. Jeff Height, wow, good to see you. The Face Touchers, exactly. Friday the 13th, 2020 would be a good band name. So, okay. So I'm going to, so this was the lesson we did before on the Mixolydian. We're not there. We're here. Oh, look. Weird. Those are the letters over here are wrong. They're not Mixolydian scales. Okay. So just to kind of reiterate what we have here is 3 different pentatonic scales. A pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale. The first one is a G minor pentatonic, which we are very familiar with. It's kind of the first one everybody learns. And I moved it up off the, see, you notice it's the 3rd fret and there's a gap there because we are going to be shifting down to the 2nd fret. And so to the G minor pentatonic works fine over all 3 chords, but it doesn't work great over the D chord, which is the 5 chord in blues, okay? And it works okay in the 4 chord, but what works better over the 4 chord is the G minor 6 pentatonic, which is the 2nd one. Because it has that E in it, so it matches, it lines up really nicely with the E and the C sharp chord. Okay, but again, and the other nice thing is that scale also works great over the G7 chord. It's what B.B. King would use. He likes that happier sound of the 6th over the 7th. And I think it was a way of him kind of setting himself apart from the other blues players. And then all the 3rd scale is a D minor pentatonic. So if I just take this scale and slide up to the 10th fret plate, that's D minor pentatonic. But if I voice it down here, I'm going to use the 3rd shape of the 5 different shapes. There's 5 different pentatonic shapes. 5 different minor pentatonic shapes up and down the neck. And this one here, with a shift down, is the one that works over the D7 chord. And also this one works fine over the G chord, but save it, okay? And so what I'm going to do right now is, again, I've done this before, and I apologize, but I'm just going to play over this, and I'm going to try to stick to those scales over those chords, okay? And also, let me give you a link so you can download, or not download, but you can jam on this. I uploaded this jam for 11 minutes, so you can jam for 11 minutes. And if you don't mind doing it here, I mean, I suppose you could download it. You could use some software to download. But you know, just if you're online, just go ahead and do it on there. I make money when you do that. And I think I put no ads. There's an ad at the beginning, maybe an ad at the end, but there will be no ads in the middle. Okay. If there are ads in the middle, let me know, because that's not supposed to happen. But anyway, I think I've made $3 off of it so far. So it's not like I'm getting rich. But hey, if I make $3 a month, you know, from one video, and I've got 500 videos, you do the math. It's a numbers game, my friend. Okay, so let me go into Logic. I've got a little groove here going. I got a piano, bass, and drums. We'll click off here. And what I did in Twitch on Thursday was I jammed along with this and talked about what I was doing. I actually had to use the microphone to do it, but the signal was actually coming from Logic, which is cool. I think it sounded better. But hey, Darren. Okay. G. Okay, bar 9 is the 5 chord to the 4 chord. Okay, to the 1 chord to the 5 chord. Okay, now I'll play pentatonic, the top one there. I went to. Now I'm going to go to that last one. Okay, you're going G minor pentatonic over the G. G minor 6 pentatonic. Now back to the G minor. Now to the D minor. To the C. I mean the minor 6. Minor 6 over the C chord, back to the 1 chord. Okay, that's enough. So I was trying to really trying hard. I kind of missed it a couple times, but I was trying really hard to stick to those three scales, those 3 different pentatonics, and the G minor I'm using primarily over the G chord, the 1 chord. The G minor 6 I was primarily using over the C chord, and the D minor pentatonic I was primarily using over the 5 chord, which was D. Now, one of the things if you look up over here, there, okay, those are the notes in those scales. Now, the D minor pentatonic, I started on the G, just so they all have Gs at the beginning, okay? Makes it easier to see the subtle nuances between the 3. So the difference between G minor pentatonic and G minor 6 is that instead of an F, you have an E, okay, the top 2 scales, okay? So that's one of the things where you want to try to maybe point that out, okay? It makes it sound like you know what you're doing. I use it all the time to make it sound like I know what I'm doing. Okay, so like you're going... Okay, so I'm basically playing that F over the G, and then the chord change, and then I go to that E, and that's the difference between those 2 scales. So those are the points you can kind of point out. And when you point out that, that difference, it's like, oh, okay, the guitar player knows the chords changed. And this is, again, I want to reiterate, if you want to play over the blues, the first thing you want to do is be able to play the blues, a basic blues progression, 1,000 times. Not 1,000 times in a row perfect, but maybe 10 times in a row perfect without mistakes. Often, and I'm including myself, okay, I will play the blues. When I was younger, I played the blues. Oh, the Twitch, you want the Twitch address. I think it's posted in the Discord, right? In the intro thing. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Yeah, yeah. So I think this is, yeah. So just go ahead and subscribe. Maybe you'll get a notification, something will go on. You know, it's a whole different group of people that are on Twitch than YouTube, you know? And I put, what was the category I used? I don't know if I should just say music, because I'm afraid if I do something too specific, it will be too far down, and I should just say music. But basically what I did was I just let that blues track jam, and I played, and I talked about what I was doing, what I'm thinking when I'm playing different phrases and lines and things like that. Okay, so I'm not a great blues player, although to be honest, teaching blues here with you guys live has really helped me think about it a little bit more. And then the key is to not think about it, feel it. And that's the reason I want you to play the blues progression perfect a billion times, because you want it to be here, not here. You want that progression. There's two reasons. I always, you know, one is so that you can play with others. If you play an 11-bar blues one time and a 13-bar blues the next time and a 12.5-bar blues the third time, and the fourth time you finally do it right, but then the fifth time you forget to play the 5 chord in the right spot or whatever, no one is going to be able to jam with you. They're just going to be insecure because they're going to be going like, what chord is he going to go to next? I've played with people like that. I've been people like that, okay? But what you want to do is get to the point where you can do to the 4 chord, to the 1 chord, for 2 bars. So far that's 4 bars. Now the 4 chord, for 2 bars. And this is a very simple blues. And then 1 chord. Then to the 5 chord. I'm going to play a different one here. That one. Then the 4 chord. And then the 1 chord. And then the 5 chord. Yeah, you can play Mixolydian over the blues. Yeah, 7th chords. Mixolydian is great for dominant 7th chords. So when you were looking at this screenshot, and I apologize for this, that is wrong. But the scales are right. Each one of those is designed to be played over the different chords. The C Mixolydian, the G7 chord, the C7 chord, and the D7 chord. Okay, G Mixolydian works great over because there's more notes. There's 2 more notes in a diatonic scale, in Mixolydian scales or diatonic scales. There's 2 more notes. It's 7 notes. They're going to be more likely to be more specific. So, like a G Mixolydian won't work very well over a C chord, C7 chord. Okay, and C Mixolydian will work okay over the G because you got to B flat, and that's fine. But the B natural of the G Mixolydian scale conflicts with the 7th of the C chord, the C7 chord. And so just so you know, there won't be a quiz on that, okay? I'm throwing out all these numbers. Don't worry about it. I'm going to say it anyway because the more you hear it, the more you understand it. Eventually, the 17th time you hear it, a light bulb goes off or something. The D Mixolydian scale is designed to go over the D7. The D Mixolydian is technically, see, it has an F sharp in it, so that's going to conflict with the the F natural and the G7 chord. So we're not going to want to use that one. So those are very, very specific. You use those as the chords change. And this diagram over here is wrong. The letters over my, let's see, this is my right, my left shoulder. But here's minor pentatonic in G. So so yeah, I think if I were to do this, and let me do this. Let me delete this text here. Remove. Yeah. And I'm going to create new text. I'll write out the notes in those scales so you can have it correct. It was a copy paste kind of thing. Okay. So G Mixolydian is G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't need the G. Whoops. F. Okay. And then C Mixolydian is C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat. And then D Mixolydian is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. Those are the notes in in those scales. Okay, and those diagrams are all up on the Discord under Tom's bookmarks. Okay, so now that's correct, but I'm not on that page today. I'm on this one, so or scene as it's called in the biz. Okay, I have German roots. Ironically, no, Strahle is actually my great. So my grandfather was adopted by his stepdad on my dad's side. So his name was not. It was like Friedelbaum or something like that. So I'm part Jewish. My German comes more from my French roots because Alsace-Lorraine is where my grandfather was from on my mom's side, and so I think they actually speak. That's over there. What's the city in Alsace-Lorraine? Colmar is one of them, but there's a bigger city. I can't think of it. Strasbourg. So my family was from the Strasbourg area, and they speak German there. So, yeah, also exactly. Thank you, Erica. Yeah, no, and I've only been to German airports. I've yet to actually go to Germany to visit Germany. That's on the list. I would love to take a cruise down the Rhine, like to see the castles, but that's something like 75-year-olds do. Sorry. Quiche Lorraine, exactly, not Quiche Lorraine. So now, and then the change from the G minor pentatonic, which is the top one up here, okay, and the D minor pentatonic. The difference between those two is that this one has a B flat, and this one has an A natural. So that's where you want to point out that change. So that I posted a link for the Twitch. Go ahead and subscribe. I don't know how often I'll be on it. I might do it again today. I don't know. I only had 2 people. Like I said, Holly was there. God bless you, Holly. Are you retired? Are you stalking me? And then also Dennis was there. Is Dennis logged in yet? I hope he's okay. They're further along into Friday the 13th in Europe than we are here, so I'm a little worried. Friday the 13th, 2020 is foreboding to say the least. Okay, so we're going to do some more snippet work. And snippet is not a sippable offense because I say it too much. So you would run out of fluids, except Holly, who's got 3 different things. So there's, if we look at okay, we did it up here. We did the top 2 strings. We're going to do the middle 2 strings, which are the same notes. Okay, this is in the G minor pentatonic. Oh wait, actually, it's not the same note. So we're actually learning new licks. Okay, sorry, I was thinking that. So for the first one, for that, that would be G minor pentatonic. So play that with me: 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret. Okay. Hardly anything easier solo-wise on guitar than that lick. Now, what I want you to do is, okay, I'm going to say the letter names of the notes so you can kind of be aware of that. Won't be a quiz on it. Take a sip. That's a celebratory sip if I say there won't be a quiz. If there's not a quiz on it, that's a sip. Celebration. But I wouldn't mind you knowing at least where the G note is here. Okay, so we have F, G, B flat, and C. F, G, B. My girl. That's what it sounds like. Okay, so if you'll notice, also look at up on the top scale there. Look at F, G, B flat, C. Okay. And from there we can see, oh, look, it's the F that we're going to move down to E. So that's the note we change. Everything else stays the same, okay? So we have this for the G minor. For the G minor 6, we're going to go down. So we might have to finger it more with our pinky and stuff. So use your first finger on the 2nd fret, pinky, 2nd finger, pinky. But if you want to, you could use your 3rd finger and 1st finger if you really want to. I might do both. Depends on what I'm doing. I might. Okay. We also talked about hybrid scales, and we could create a hybrid scale. If I did a hybrid scale with these three scales, it would be literally G Dorian. And so if we were to combine all those notes, in other words, I did G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F. That would be G Dorian. And would G Dorian work on all three of those chords? Yeah, maybe. G Dorian would be fine over G and C, but it's still going to be a little weird over the D minor. You're going to really... that A note's in there, you're going to want to emphasize that. But okay, we're not on the A note, we're on the... Okay, so play this. This is the E note we're going to get. We'll get the A note on the next iteration. So there's 2, 5, 3, 5. You can make an exercise about playing it all different ways. Oh, no. Hey, one thing, Jan, the thing I noticed when I went to get rid of all the ads on Wednesday's video, there weren't any ads. I mean, I think it was still monetized. I still get an ad at the beginning or something, but there wasn't one every 2 minutes, which drives me crazy that they do that. I have to go and delete them all. I put one in every 30 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I should change that at every 15 and see if it makes a monetary difference. I don't think it would. Okay, so so let's go back to the G shape, the G minor pentatonic shape, which is 3, 5, 3, 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back to the G minor 6 one and say the letter names: E, G, B flat, C, C, B flat, G, E. Okay, now look at the chord, the scale tones there. E, G, B flat, C. The only one we're missing is the D. We can get that right here if we want. But otherwise, all the other notes are represented. Okay, the one you want to be aware of on this shape is probably the C. Because there's our root of the C chord. This is the scale we'll play over the C chord. Okay? And then the next one, go back to the G minor pentatonic. So 3, 5, 3, 5. And we're going to do the similar thing, but we're going to go down on the third string instead of on the fourth string. So we're going to take that B flat down to the A. Okay, that's the difference between G minor pentatonic and D minor pentatonic, is instead of a B flat, there's an A. Okay, so that's going to be 3, 5, 2, 5. Okay, and there is no D in this. But if you want a D, you got one here or down here. Okay, it's the next note if you continue up, and it's the next note if you continue down. Because again, we're talking about pentatonic scales, which are 5-note scales, and we're playing 4 of the notes right here. So it only makes sense that the next note going up and down is going to be that D note. So if you want to add that to the arsenal here, you can. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bracket that G chord. Okay. We're gonna jam on the. We'll do what we've been doing. Holly likes this, and it's actually really good, really helpful. Just getting my windows in order here. Okay. Dang it, I did the opposite of what I want to do. Okay. Hit that G note. Okay. And that sounds wrong because you're playing a B flat and the piano's playing a B natural. But that's what makes the blues. That's part of the blues thing, is that dissonance. Okay, that tension. 2, 3, 4, 1. What if we did it on 2, 3, 4, 1? It's all a different feel to do it on. Start the lick on 2. Okay. Okay, I'm going C, B flat. All within this shape. So I'm just playing the middle 2 strings of the G minor pentatonic. The 3rd and 4th string. Okay, now do this. This is out of the scale, out of the key, but this is a very good, usable idea. Okay, just roll your third finger over the fret and go slightly up to the 6th fret and back. Okay, it's like a vocal thing. It's like. Now, okay, let's go. So I did B flat to C and then back to B flat. Yeah, Holly, it's a vocal. You're really trying to emulate vocals. You can go do it multiple times. You can bend it too. You can do it with a bend. And if you want, you can. Want to try to bend that. If you're playing acoustic, this isn't going to work. You can hammer on that 2nd finger on the 4th fret and make that be natural. Now we're in Mixolydian mode. That gets Mixolydian when you do that. Very bluesy if you do it this way. Mixolydian. If you play Mixolydian scales over a blues progression, it's going to skew towards the jazzier. Doesn't mean it's still not blues, it's just going to have a little bit jazzier sound than pure pentatonics. Okay. Long, short. F, G, C, B flat, G. Maybe a longer lick you could go. Notice I'm ending on the root, on the G note there. That's a triplet. I had to check. Hold on a second. Oh, John Y. Where's John Y's question? I missed it. Oh. Didn't know I was such a cosmopolitan guy. How so? Okay. Boom. Let's see, where are we? John Y. John Y. Where's that question? How far back does it go? Question from Jeff. Mixolydian progression. Oh, yeah. Okay. Planet Wells, welcome. Sorry, I'm not. My eyes are not seeing John's question right now. I didn't know you were. Yeah. Huh. Oh, thank you, John Wilson. And Elio Barrios. Hey, teacher, nice lesson. I find that video looking for. I know. I wish I spoke. Your name looks Spanish. I could be wrong. Elio Barros. I can roll the tongue. I can do. My daughter can't do it. She's so bad. She can't do that. It cracks me up when she tries. It's so stinking cute. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to the C chord, the 4 chord. Okay. So all of that was over the. Here's the 4 chord. Now the problem with doing this 1 chord like that is eventually that C chord starts to sound like the 1 chord. You know, it's really funny to me in my head. You know, eventually you start going, oh, okay. But so we were playing this, and that works fine over the C. But what works differently? I don't want to necessarily say better, but it definitely is more. Oh, way back. Okay. Well, John, ask again. So, oh my gosh, 11 minutes after the hour. Oh, you're talking way back. Yeah, I never saw that one. So. that's the new scale we're going to do over the C. So here's the C chord. This is the 4 chord. All right, C7. You play like this if you don't play bar chords. And the great thing about soloing is if you can't play bar chords, it doesn't matter, right? You can still solo. Oh, I'm getting my windows all mixed up, sorry. There we go. Okay, so we got... Okay, here's the root, there's a C. And that's the 7th. That's a great note to end on, the 7th. Right? That's a stank face. Alright? You can even make a nasty nasally tone. With a bridge pickup or neck pickup. I mean bridge pickup. And you can even go chromatically up and down to that. And again, music is about tension and release. And when you're playing that 7th, that B flat over the C chord, it wants to go to that root. But so you're just, it's up to you. You're in complete control of how much tension it is. If you go immediately, then that's not much tension. We're really inside right now. You're playing the root of the chord. You can't be any more inside than that. Okay? But if I sit on that B flat, right? That creates a lot more tension. It's like people are waiting for that resolution. Play that. So I'm on the 4th string now, 5th fret, 2nd fret. I'm playing the G. This is the 2nd scale there. The G and the E. And that E is the 3rd of the C chord. Don't worry, there won't be a quiz on this. Now I'm playing the E and the C up here. You can even slide into that E. Watch this, from the 1st fret. You go to the 7th. There's our tritone, our guide tones. Okay, the 3rd and the 7th. E and B flat. That was a lot of tension right there. Play that, okay? That was G, B flat, G, and E. Right. Okay, so that, yeah, so Jeff, now I could play a G major pentatonic over the G major, or the 1 chord, the G7 chord. And that would be even happier. I can play that. But what I wanted to do with what we're doing here, what's really cool about this is that we're playing the basic minor pentatonic. And we're changing one note to make it fit the C chord a little better. And then we're going back to it, and we're changing one note to make it fit the D chord a little bit better, okay? And so what happens is, what works out is, over the G minor pentatonic is a minor pentatonic. Therefore, we're playing a minor 3rd over a chord with a major 3rd. And that's kind of creates the blues sound. But when we change that F to C, or E, sorry, the F down to E, and we change that pentatonic to be a G minor 6 pentatonic. we are indeed getting a major third, which is unique among these three scales, is we're actually getting a third that fits the third of the major third of the 4 chord. And then when we go to the 5 chord, we're playing D minor pentatonic, and we're right back where we started. We got an F, yet there's an F sharp in the chord, but we're not acknowledging that with this scale. Hey, chimichanga. Yeah, G7. Yeah, all of these chords are 7th chords. And so it's G, B, D, and F on that chord. So it's a major chord with a dominant 7th. All right, there won't be a quiz on that, but I don't mind saying it more than once. Yeah, he would do more of a Dorian thing. That's right. And so that would be like G minor to C major, to C. Why don't you change your And that is, you would play over that song, you would play more over the entire progression, okay? His approach to that song and my approach would be the same, and that would be just play G Dorian, like you said. I would just be like... But no, you can't go major. You know, you would do all kind of Dorian licks. But what I'm doing is I'm showing you, here's one scale that works over the G, because this way, when the chords change in the blues, none of these chords are in the same key. See, when I play G minor to C7, and don't worry, there's no quiz on this, those chords can be in the same key. That's G Dorian, or the key of F. That's the 2 chord and the 5 chord in the key of F. However, when you play nothing but 7th chords, there is only one dominant 7th chord in every key. So, and it's the 5 chord. So when I play a G7 chord in blues, it sounds like the 1 chord because it's what we start on. But G7 is the 5 chord in the key of C. So technically, we could play C major over the G7, which is exactly the same as playing G mixolydian. Okay? They're relative. Over the C7 chord is the 5 chord in the key of F. So we could just play it key of F. Oh, and there it is. Sure enough, C mixolydian is the same as F, same notes. And then over the D7 chord is the 5 of G. So now we're actually technically, when we get to that 5 chord, we're technically in the key of G. But don't think keys necessarily. You say blues and G, okay, yeah, that's, in other words, start on G, end on G. That's your, but really you're in the standard blues. If I just play major chords, then I'm in G. Okay, there's no 7s. But as soon as I insert those 7s, I'm technically in 3 different keys. Okay, so you're technically modulating. Which is why I kind of, when I play over the blues, I don't like to play one scale, because one scale does not fit all in that context. One scale would never fit all if you were in 3 different keys. It wouldn't work. And so that's why, you can play G minor pentatonic for all 3 chords. A lot of people do it. But there are going to be times where you go, oh, that note just kind of, I wish I could play a different note. No, you can't. You got to use G minor pentatonic. Oh, but this A note over the D chord, no, sorry. You can't. So you're the soloist. You do what you want. So no one's telling you have to do this or that unless you're in college and they're telling you. And there are ways to play within those scale, within G minor pentatonic, and make it sound fine. That's not the issue. Like I could play C and D all day long, which are the 7th and the root of the D7 chord. In fact, I don't have an A in there. So I have those 2 notes. Over the C chord, I can play the C and the B flat. That works great. And over the G, obviously, I've got lots of things I can do there too. It's not that you can't do that, but it's just that sometimes you want those extra chord shapes. So what I want to do on Wednesday is I want to take these, I want to go to pentatonic number 2 in G minor. And then I want to turn that into a G minor, G minor 6 pentatonic. So that'll be the new scale, the new shape we haven't learned before. And then we will do D minor pentatonic here at the 5th position, which is the fourth shape, in the pentatonic number 4. Which end I actually just logged on just now. No, I'm kidding. I was cracking Holly up. Where are you, Holly? You're still there. Cracking Holly up on on the on Twitch yesterday. Was that yesterday? Because I looked over and there's a standby scene change, right? And it's like, oh, that's cool. I should create one here and put it there. But like, is there a way I can? So I was saying. So anyway, when I got to the top of the mountain and I finally spent the day with the Maharaji, he told me the secret of life, and it changed my life forever. He said it was very simple. He said the secret of life. And that's what changed my life. Except instead of muting me, yes, exactly. That is right. But that's why we're going to do the next position up. And I don't stay in one position when I'm playing. I move around, but you have to learn the different shapes. And the best way to learn a shape is just don't stay in one position, learn them here, and then learn them here, and then learn them here, and learn them here, and then you have the freedom to go everywhere. Okay, so we'll continue on. Was that Monday? With that, and I may do two days of us shedding. Okay, so we did the G. Okay, we haven't done the 4-5 chord yet. So let me bracket the 5 chord. Right here, okay, and we're gonna play. Here we go. We're gonna play the bottom scale down here, okay. It's hard to point at. There we go, right there, and we're gonna play the the middle 2 strings. I really want to hit that D note. There's our C, that's our 7th. That creates tension. If you want to go to the D, you can. I'll let you. Even though it's outside of the snippet. What that is that's the 7th and the 5th. So both of those notes are in the D7. Both those notes are in the D7. Okay. Now here's the 4th and the 3rd, the flat 3rd. So it's going to sound out of tune. That also creates tension. You can try to bend it up a half step to that F sharp. In fact, hit it. 4th fret, 4th string, hit that note, and then go to the 3rd fret and try to bend it. Try to match that. Have a memory for that note. Okay, that's not in the scale, but that's the F note, and it wants to go to F sharp, but you don't have to. But if you slide it up to F sharp, and then you play the C, there are guide tones, the 3rd, the 3rd, 7th, and the D7 chord. That's outside of the scale. So go, maybe just do the scale, those 4 notes descending. Bend it up to F sharp. Or slide it up to F sharp. If you're playing acoustic, it might be hard to bend it, especially that low on the fretboard. But I like that sound of that F over. It's basically playing like you're playing like a D7 sharp 9 chord essentially by adding the F to the D7 chord, which is the Jimi Hendrix, right? Up and down. You can go to that D note right there, the root. Nice. Hit the like button. 41 watching. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. I had hole 2 yesterday. Dennis and Holly were on my Twitch yesterday. Oh, thanks, Zara. And just know I don't teach songs. I don't want to have copyright strikes. Okay, that's getting annoying, even for me. I can turn off the piano if I mute the piano. It's a little bit more enjoyable. I can even, and I could take that bass. Well, see, if I take the bass down an octave, you might not hear it, because if you're listening to a laptop or something, speakers are kind of small. Oh, I got 3 followers now. So if you want, you can follow my Twitch, which is, here, let me copy that. Copy. If you want to follow my Twitch, I may do, I have to decide if I want to, through Streamcast, I can do, if for $12 a month, I can broadcast multiple, on multiple platforms. And I'm not sure how to monetize Twitch yet. I haven't gotten that far. But I may do that. Now, something, I know. So you remember those, remember when I did those 2, I was talking about soloing lessons, about 20 lessons ago, right? It's been a month, and I got those copyright strikes, right? Like somebody was claiming, and they when they do that, YouTube says, here's the section that they're claiming was theirs or somebody's, and it wasn't like, Michael Jackson's claiming that you played the riff from Beat It. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like some copyright company in Germany. Sorry, I'm not picking on Germany, but that was where they were from. I'm using OBS. I'm not using Streamlabs OBS yet. I downloaded it though, and I was working on it, but I'm not there yet. So I don't know if this OBS is separate. It's not. OBS is plain old OBS. Is not Streamlabs. So OBS Studio is what I'm using. There were 2 videos that claimed that I was using copyrighted material. Well, in both of those sections of those videos, it was just me soloing over a vamp of some kind. It may have even been a pad, like an A minor pad. And I was like, no, but one of them was a chord progression we were doing. Remember the pop chord progressions? Like it was an E minor, C. And I was just showing you the roots of each of those. I said, okay, start with, play the root. It's an E minor. Play E, C, G, D. And that's what I was doing. And they said that was copyrighted. They owned that. They owned the roots to the chords in G. And I went, no, they don't. So I contested it. And I said, no, I'm just soloing. I was teaching my students what the roots of the chords are. And that's what I typed out and sent to YouTube. And then there was another one, and it was the same thing, a different company. And I went to the company's website, and they were bragging about having, billions of views on YouTube and over 2 million, videos that they own content in or something like that. And I'm like going, yeah, but that was me soloing randomly, not playing any specific melody, and you're claiming it as your own? Is that how you're getting your 2 million videos? You're not actually creating content. You're just essentially stealing content. And so I contested that one as well. And that one in the comment, I was a little bit more snarky. I was like going, these publishers can't just go around and saying everything's theirs. I was teaching, and I said, this is ridiculous. And both of those songs, or both of those channels now have been, both of those videos have been fully monetized. They were in escrow, which means they were saving the money up. Okay, so now that's fully monetized. Yeah, you can't own the key of G. I know, it's ridiculous. So so apparently I won those. Normally I would get some notification that I won my petition. So I'm still undefeated as far as that goes. And I have videos. I have one video when I did the listening to ETA for the first time, the Bieber song that I wrote. That one I didn't even try to monetize. When I uploaded the video, they immediately, I didn't even have the option to monetize it. They said, this has, because it was me listening to it for the first time. I knew I wasn't going to be able to monetize it. It was a reaction video, and you can't monetize those. So I was fine with that. And that one hasn't gotten many videos, but yeah, so no notes are copyright. Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous. And, these I've had music all over the world. Basically, my music is playing 24/7. I know that for a fact because somewhere in the world, because I have a lot of music on a lot of TV shows like Discovery shows and cable shows that are played all over the world. So somewhere in the world, at least one of my music is playing somewhere, probably, and maybe even on radio with the Bieber cuts and things like that. So, yeah, no, you're right, Leo. And these people are just, they created this thing, and it's probably only going to get worse before it gets better until YouTube shuts it down. Part of the thing was in Europe. That's why most of these are coming from Europe. In Europe, they put much stricter copyright laws on YouTube and on Google, and so they're having to instigate some of this stuff on an international basis, and so American creators get caught up in it. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It just cracks me up when they do this. But right now, all of my videos are free and clear, so it's not an issue. Let me see what else. Okay, I can shut that. All right. So let's see. What time is it? 10:10. All right. So like I said, we'll move these up. I don't. Now you'll notice the bottom two strings. That snippet. Oh hey, air quotes. Cheers. It's one of our drinking game rules. If I use air quotes, we all get to take a sip. You'll notice that the bottom two strings don't make a change from G minor pentatonic to G minor 6 pentatonic. Okay, so unlikely, you can play both of those that shape for all the chords, for both of the G chord and the C chord. For the D, then you would make this little change. What you want to do is grab a snippet where you can actually see a change. Like if we go to the second string and the third string, there's the snippet for G 7 chord. There's the snippet for the C7 chord, and so if I were to stick to that and play the blues. So I'm only playing on the second and third string. And here's the D chord coming up again. That's the one change. So you can play. The snippet thing is a good way to kind of get familiar with the territory, and then it's kind of like walking around your neighborhood, and your neighborhood might be the fourth and fifth string. I'm sorry, the fourth and third string. And then what you do is you expand that to be the third and second string, right? And then what you can do is you can do all three of those strings. And then you expand and do the top two strings, and then you've got 4 strings you can play, or the top 3, or whatever. You can mix it up. And the other thing you can do, which is kind of fun, let me see if there's a good example of that. Not really. There's no. Well, if we did the fourth string and the first string only, then when we got to the E, and then when we got to to the C chord, and then when we got to the D chord, B. So you could do the fourth and second or first string only if you really wanted to hammer those two strings down. But you can really, my whole point is, and my assumption is that we're largely here because of my most famous video, because we're older beginners. And so the best way to learn stuff in general is in smaller chunks. If you try to do too much, you're just going to get discouraged. So, hey, Jim, good to see you. I think I knew that, Charlie. I'm glad to hear that. If I ever have any questions about it, of course, how much has that changed since the '90s? But I'm assuming you're still an attorney, right? I have a friend, Charlie Gron, who's an attorney in Indianapolis. My uncle was a federal appellate court judge. Let's see. Oh wait, Bruce. Yeah. Oh yeah, the reaction videos. Yeah, they're probably mostly. I mean, they're you could call them overreaction videos. Although when I have to admit, the insecure ego guitar player in me went and watched a bunch of reaction videos to the Bieber record, and I wanted to see everybody's reaction to ETA, and it was pretty fun to watch. Some people really, really liked it. Other people were like, "Yeah, that's lame," or whatever. But some people were like, "Oh man, this is amazing." So it was pretty funny. You know what? I'm getting a little cold. I'm going to grab a shirt. Hold on a second. Pants confirmed. Now I hang shirts on the back of my doors so that when I shut the doors, it creates even more baffling. And this is a very old shirt, actually. Well, not very old, but it's from the Abercrombie and Fitch from the 90s. And I was wearing this shirt one day, sitting watching TV. We were watching reruns of Friends, and Joey was wearing this exact shirt. So we stopped the show, and I stood in front of it and went like, "Look, we're wearing the exact same shirt." A&F clothing definitely populates a lot of wardrobes. It's pretty fun working on a TV show and going to the wardrobe, and it's, they have racks and racks. I mean, bigger than any clothing store. Racks and racks and racks of clothes in different sizes and everything. And the sizes aren't like, they wouldn't have 20 sizes of this shirt. They would just have one. They might just they go, "Oh, that's a Joey shirt, so we'll buy one in his size for the specific shows." But if they didn't have something like this in my size, for example, they would probably have something of a similar style in my size. So they don't need to have every size of every clothes. It's usually a one-off of everything, but all in different. Oh, here's '80s clothes, and here's '90s clothes, and here's 2000s clothes, and things like that. It's really. I went to when I did Gangster Squad, we wore vintage tuxedos, really nice, and from the '40s, and they had us go to this Western Costume in Burbank, right by the airport, and it's a warehouse full of clothes. I mean, giant warehouse full of clothes, and we went there to get our haircuts and to get fitted, and that's where the tuxes were. But they didn't give us a tux; they had them waiting for us when we got on set. But that was pretty astonishing. I mean, it's a huge thing. Flannel everywhere. I know. Yeah, plaid is timeless. I had a shirt that I bought back in the '80s. I wish I still had it. It was really getting torn up, and I just threw it away but it was my favorite shirt. Obviously, that's why it got torn up. A lot of times I'll wear shirts as coats. Instead of putting a coat on or something, I'll just throw a shirt on. It just is warm, and flannel is warmer than vinyl. Yeah, this was very grungy era. Um, the Friends started in what, 93 and went to 2004, if I'm not mistaken. So this would have been definitely 90s. So this shirt is, gosh, 20, it's probably as old as Emma. So, okay, so enough about this. Enough about me. What do you think about me? I love that. It's one of my favorite uh, Bette Midler quotes from a movie. There was, she also, I remember, she had a show. Bette Midler had a sitcom. It didn't last very long, and I don't even know why I saw it, but I happened to see the first episode. I had TV on, or it was the pilot episode, or maybe it was on Netflix or something. Anyway, I played it, and she starts out, she's on a treadmill, and she's running, and her husband walks in, and he thinks he's being funny. He says, "What are you running from?" And she goes, "My ass!" And I went, okay, that's funny. It's pretty funny. She's a pretty funny lady. So I loved her in the Seinfeld episode, too. But, oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can show that. We suddenly got PG rating now. We were G and now we're PG. So now for the next lesson, the shapes are going to change, but the scales are not going to change. It's still going to be G, B flat, C, D, F, and G, B flat, C, D, E, and it's A, G, A, B, C, D, F. It's going to be the same notes, but they're just going to be here, okay? And that's what we'll do on yeah, Jay Baker said, I live 100 miles from the home of grunge, Aberdeen. Is that where Nirvana was from originally, I think, the band? Kurt Cobain and all that? And they still have flannel. Flannel's still a thing. Yeah, well, it's still a thing when you go to the store. It hasn't changed. Yes, Jeff, the cluster guitar is all the same. I have a guitar that I call my drone guitar. Let's see. The cluster, yeah, those are all, I think, 10s. My rug is slipping. Yeah, so this is, I call this the drone guitar. It's just, right now it's, oh, I've got them tuned down to A. This is way tuned down. I'll tune it up. It's just 3/8. But this one I do actually have different gauges so that there's. Let's see, what should I go to? I'll go to D. But whatever, I have a box of extra strings or whatever, and I think I intentionally chose different gauges, but I went with a pretty heavy one so I could tune down pretty. It's just funny to play with. Like if I do like a heavier. Let me do like a metal sound. Okay, let me just do another track. Audio input 2. And the guitar's kind of buzzy, but I think on this one I've got noise gate, so it shouldn't be too bad. Let's see, rock guitar, wide power. Let's go with that. So sound it. So it sounds a little bit thicker than one string. So I can play 3 strings at once if I want. Or I could arpeggiate. Or I can play like one string and leave the other two open, or play two strings. Or I can play two different notes on two different strings. And then the cool thing is that I have nothing below here. See, there's no strings here. There's 3 strings. So I can bend the crud out of them. I'm just playing, what am I playing? D Phrygian. No, I'm playing D Locrian. The key that I say we never play in. That's Locrian. It's very easy to do because I'm just unison, so I don't have to worry about fifths getting in the way. But just 3D notes. Yeah, that's a good metal skill. Phrygian would sound like. Anyway, or it's Dorian. Anyway, that's so this is I call this my drone guitar because I can do all sorts of weird things. You keep getting dropped. Oh, dang it. I hope it's not me. I'm green. It's don't forget it's Friday the 13th, 2020. Yeah, and the cluster guitar is all they're all 10s, I think, on that guitar. Yeah, but I have a lot of guitars like that strung up in weird ways just so that I can kind of come up with some cool sounds or write songs that I wouldn't normally write on a normal guitar. So, yeah, you know what the heck? I mean, they're not cheap. I mean, they're not expensive. They're cheap guitars. Weird. It's weird how dark this sounds. tired. Louis Sam Osama. Can you get a good guitar and an amp for less than $300? Good, probably not. Usable, sure. I mean, see, where's my main Squire? Do I have it in here? Oh, it's in my gig bag because I was at the studio. But I have a Squire that I paid $99 for, that I've used on lots of records, including it's on the song ETA by Justin Bieber. I wrote that with Pooh Bear, and that is my $99 Squire direct into Logic, not even through an amp. And I had an amp, what was it? They don't make them anymore, but like a 5-watt. It had tremolo on it, I think, and reverb. 5-watt Vox. They don't make them anymore, and I think it was like $150. It's pretty good. So for $250, I got, a chord's going to cost you more than that. A cheap chord is going to be more of a problem than a cheap guitar or a cheap amp in some ways. But you might have to spend $30 on a cable. So for under $300, you could get a decent little practice setup. And to be honest, like I said, I've used the the Squire on records, a lot of records, and the Vox amp I don't think I've ever used on a record, but it's a lot of fun and it sounds pretty good. But it's not loud enough for a gig. So the problem for the $300 breakpoint, and I've been asked this before. You're not the first time, but I hate to say it. I'm being an American. I think it's going to sound like a lot of money, but I've been asked that question a lot about. I have a budget for a guitar and an amp. Where should I prioritize my money? Okay, so in other words, I have $1,000 for a guitar and an amp. Should I put $500 into the amp and $500 into the guitar? 50-50. And here's the thing, what I usually say is, and I don't really make recommendations because I don't want you to come back and say, you said, but let's just say, for example, you bought a practice amp for $50 on Craigslist, and it was like a PV practice amp, okay? Little amp, whatever. And then you went and bought a 59 Les Paul for $1 million. Okay. How's that going to sound? Yeah, it's going to sound okay, but you're really not going to sting. You're not going to hear $1 million. You're just not going to hear $1 million out of a $50 amp. Okay. Consequently, if I go out and I buy a cheap guitar that plays in tune and stays in tune and the pickups work and everything, maybe $100. I've paid as little as $75 for Squires, used Squires. I bought 2 from my friend for $150. And one I strung up weird, and the other one I left normal because it actually sounded a lot like my other Squire, except it was white instead of black. And I'm like, hey, it doesn't hurt to have 2 of these. That thin, lo-fi funk sound that's hard to get with a good guitar. So but then you go get a really nice, say, Dumble amp for $70,000, or even like a good 2-rock. I have a 2-rock amp. Say you go spend $7,000 on a 2-rock amp, or whatever. Pick out a really good amp, and you play that Squire through that amp. It's gonna sound pretty damn good, right? So that tells me, and those are extreme examples. That tells me that really kind of the amp in some ways, and there's a ceiling to amps. Like you can get a good amp for $1,000. I was talking about, somebody asked on Wednesday, what amps I said, one of the best just amps you'll buy and never get rid of is a Fender Deluxe. You can get a blackface reissue for about $1,000. It's an amp you will never get rid of. You will always find a use for it, and it's a workhorse, and you can take it on the road and everything. You may want to get a road case if you're going to be taking it, like you're putting it in a truck or something. But so there's a ceiling to how much you can spend on an amp. On the guitars, you can get pretty crazy, especially if you get into vintage guitars. If you really want to have a 57 Strat, you're going to be looking at $75,000 or something. Or if you want like a 1958 Telecaster or something, like, you're going to be looking at a lot of money. Let's not even talk about Gibson vintage Les Pauls. But G&L, why G? Well, I have, this is the only G&L I have. I have a lot of Fenders. The reason I bought this one, I do like the tremolo on this. It's got that hard rock kind of vibe to it that Fender tremolo doesn't really tend to have. So I use this for heavy rock stuff generally. So it's in my studio all the time. My main Strat, I would be playing that probably right now if it weren't packed up. But it's packed up, ready to go to the next thing. So, yeah. But the person, Charlie, you agree with me on the Deluxe. The person that asked said they had $300 to spend. So you're not gonna be able to get a Fender Deluxe for $300, let alone a guitar and an amp. But that's that's a good goal. I have a '70s Deluxe, and I had it worked on. It's up to speed. I have I think Alex has my. I have a '70s Princeton as well that's not working. I think Alex has that one. And I have a '60s Marshall 50 watt, and I've got twin 12, and that's a pretty decent vintage amp. But vintage amps, I wouldn't recommend necessarily for a beginner to buy vintage amps because they can have issues and they can be kind of expensive to maintain. A new amp is better, and there's a lot of solid state amps you can get that sound pretty good. I'm still a tube guy generally when it comes to amps. But I have a Matchless amp, Clubman, that sounds great. I also have a Sears Twin 12, which I love, and I only paid $175 for it. I don't know what they go for. They're probably more like $1,000 to $1,500 in good condition. Mine's in great condition. It's been totally reworked by a guy who loves those amps. So it's in really good shape. But as far as the G&L versus the Fender, it's just this is the one I have out. That's why I'm playing it. But I do like G&Ls. I feel like they're made very well. Particularly, one of the telltale points where you can tell a quality instrument is just running your hand up and down. It just feels good right here. There's no rough edges or anything like that. It's real smooth. The neck on this thing plays great. I've never done a thing to it. It's all stock. The only thing I did, and I mentioned this the other day, is put cotton in here because the springs, for some reason, were ringing out sympathetically and then coming through the pickup. So I had to put an end to that, and that's why. Hey, Uniquely, what's going on? It's all right. Uniquely, I say this all the time. The things I say may talk over your head, but I'll be saying them a lot, and eventually they'll start to make sense. So it'll get explained at some point or another. I always use the example of when I was 14 or 15, I subscribed to Guitar Player magazine, and I maybe understood 10%. I would read it from cover to cover, and maybe understood 10% of what I was reading, probably less. And so. But then the next episode, I understood 11%, and the next episode, magazine, the next month, I understood like 15% or whatever. At the end of the first year, I was like pretty much understanding 25% of what I was reading. A lot of times, it was because something was said, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? So I'd have to look it up or try to find it or something. So, Yamaha guitars are great. I don't have any Yamaha guitars. I've never owned a Yamaha. The Yamaha acoustics have been kind of a poor man's Martin for a long time. Those and Takamines have done pretty good job of emulating some of the more expensive Martins. I've never owned a Takamine, but Yamahas are totally fine. Let's see. Oh, Dennis is here. Good to see you, Dennis. But I'm glad I inspired you. Thank you. That means a lot. So Zara, I hope that Zara Chan, I hope that answers kind of your question. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. A great resource though is reverb.com. So my only concern is if you're thinking about buying a guitar, even a new guitar like a Yamaha new guitar, I would go to a place like Reverb and check it out and see what used ones of the model that you're buying are going for. Cheaper guitars, they may be like Takaminis and Yamahas, may be kind of expensive in the store. You know, $500-600, and you're like, well, but that's a lot cheaper than a Martin or a Taylor or a Gibson. And you're like, yeah. As soon as you get it out of the store, though, good luck getting $200 for it. So there's that. So in those scenarios, you might almost want to look for a used one if you can find a used one. But Reverb is a great place to go and kind of fact check some of the prices on things. Because oftentimes cheap acoustics are sold to beginners, and beginners don't know. The guys working at Guitar Center, they know you're a beginner, and they know they can. Oh, well, you need this. This is the guitar you need. And also, beginners are often kind of attracted with their eye. So, like, you could have two Yamaha guitars. One's 250 and one's 550, and the 550 one has really nice abalone inlay, maybe inlay up here, and it's a little bit prettier or whatever, but the woods are identical. You know, the top is still solid spruce. That's the main thing on an acoustic. You want a solid spruce top, solid top. I have spruce and cedar. I'm trying to think what else I have, acoustic-wise. I think that's it. But you want to make sure you get solid top. Thanks, Bruce, for doing that. I have on my YouTube channel. I have the streams, so you can go to the live stream, and I've been doing. This is lesson 135 since COVID started. I did 62 days in a row to start the whole thing. We're at 48 concurrent viewers right now. I think that's a peak. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like button or the unlike if you don't like me. Sometimes I'll hit like and unlike it and then like it again, so I can say hit like twice. Breedloves are not bad. You know, Breedloves are good. They started out as actually a very expensive guitar, and then they came out with a more consumer model. Oh, interesting. Yeah. You can play right into your. Yeah, it's true. And I mean, like I said, most of the time I'm playing direct into my computer. So to use your phone or your iPad or something like that as your amplifier is also a way to go. You don't have to necessarily buy an amp, and you put headphones on, and boom, you got all sorts of samples of all sorts of different amplifiers, vintage Marshalls and vintage Gibsons and whatever. You know, you could have a Dumble in there for all you know. Look up Dumbles. Dumble amps. Oh my gosh, trying to find one of those. I don't know if he still makes a Dumble. I don't even know if you can find Rockman, man. Back in the day, Tom Schultz. Let's see. I doubt if there's a Dumble. You might find a Klon, spend $3,000 on a distortion box, but let's see. I'll check Reverb for a. So exciting to watch me Google. Dumble. I'm going to get like a million amps to say, oh, we sound like a Dumble. Dumbler. Yeah. Dumble clone. Dumble pedals. Dumbler. Sebago Sound Dumble Overdrive Deluxe Black. $5,500. That's not for a Dumble. Fender Dumble Twin Reverb Mod 1976. Oh, so he Dumble modded this twin. $3,000 back in the 70s. Dumble modded Fender Brown. Wow, $22,000 for a Dumble modded Fender Brown Deluxe 1962. I can sort by most expensive, and we'll see if best match, price high to low. I don't know if we're going to actually see. No, we're not going to. Oh, wait. An overdrive special. Here's one. Oh, my gosh. Seriously. Come on. Really? Yeah. Okay, so if you want an amp recommendation, here you go. Hey, look at this. I got 54 viewers watching me Google Dumble amps. $120,000 for a Dumble overdrive special. Is that insane or what? It's in North Hollywood. Wow, that's not too far from here. I should go down and check it out. They wouldn't let me plug. They wouldn't let me in the store. Well, the seller's got perfect 5-star review, but dang. But the interesting thing is, Dumble is what I think John Mayer uses. Dumbles are insanely expensive, but also Two Rocks. Two Rock has a one that's kind of a Dumble clone. I forget what it's called. I have the Studio Pro 35, which is a cheaper. It wasn't cheap, but it's a cheaper Two Rock, and I have the cabinet too. The lesson was at the beginning. Born to Riff. We were talking about 3 different pentatonic scales. So sorry about it. We're kind of in the shutting down, getting ready to go to bed mode. I'm going to take a nap. But what we were doing was 3 different pentatonic scales to work over the 3 different chords in blues. The 1 chord, in this case in the key of G, a G7, the C7 chord, and the D7 chord. There you go. There's a good recommendation, Richard. So the scale that everybody tends to learn first is the G minor, the minor pentatonic, and then I took the F in each of those scales. There's 2 Fs right here. Moved them down to E's to accommodate the C chord better. So that's a different scale. And that's the second one. And then the third one is just D minor pentatonic position down here. So everything is in one position. So you learn new shapes. Because I could take this scale and just move it up to here and play it. But what's the point? You might as well learn a new shape while you're at it. Okay, so let me post the Discord link again. Tom Strahle's offline. Videos. Do they keep my video that I did? Is it still up there? Oh, it looks like you don't have any videos. Interesting. Okay, so I may need to. I'm looking at my Twitch. Okay, so here's the intro. Here's the Discord for this page. It kind of has our little rules and stuff. So if you're interested in having these diagrams. And every diagram that I create and every piece of paperwork that I create, I scan and post there under Tom's bookmarks on the Discord thing. So you can download those, print those, do whatever you want with them. We've done 135 lessons since COVID lockdown started. And apparently we're getting ready for a lot more lockdowns. Get ready. Get ready for the ankle bracelets. Okay, Brian, go check your horses and walk 20 foster dogs. Dang, I hope you have a big... are you walking them on the street or are you walking them on your property? God bless you for doing that. God bless you for taking care of those doggies. Let's see. All right, any other questions? Where's the yeah? Sorry, Born, you missed it. But if you get here at the beginning, or you can go, you can scroll back in this video and I talk about it. But the scale, and we're gonna, like I said, Wednesday I'm going to. I should do it right now while I'm thinking about it. But I got to create 3 more diagrams up here in this 5th position. Basically, we're going to. In fact, I'm just thinking. I think. We don't have any position shifts with these 3 scales in the 5th position, which is really nice. So we won't, unlike this scales, where we had 2 position shifts where we actually left the 3rd position to go to the 2nd. We won't have that. Everything, all 3 of these scales will be at the 5th position, and we will be doing, we'll do the snippet thing again. So we'll take like we'll do a little snippet for the G minor and then the G minor 6. And then for the D minor. And things like that. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Promise. let's see. Oh, sorry. Question. Let's see. I'm going to be so much better at guitar by the time this lockdown is done. Yeah, I'm hoping to be that way with Spanish. Trying to learn Spanish during the lockdown. And I've been writing a lot of music. So, maybe at the end of all this, I can retire on all my royalties. Okay, so yay snippets. Thoughts on a kit DIY guitar versus cheap Strat or other. ARK AHRK. Hey Dan, good to see you. Oh, I would get the deluxe reverb. The Fender reverbs are great, and they're so iconic, and you can get that surf sound. If you have an option, get the one that has the reverb and the tremolo. You're right, I forgot about that. They do have deluxes that don't have reverbs. I think mine has reverb. I'm trying to think if it has tremolo or not. Yeah, it has tremolo. Mine's a 70s, but the blackface ones, I think I think you can get them around $1,000. Used. You could probably get them for less even. I'm not sure what they retail for. Alex has one. It's not his main amp, but he has one, and he'll never get rid of it. He has a blackface one. As far as kit guitar versus, so I'm really bad at soldering electronics. And I don't like soldering because one of the jobs I did when I first moved to California to pay the bills was to work for a friend of mine, or a friend of a friend, for his jewelry company. And one of the things they had me do early on was piecework. So I would get like 1,000 bolo, like filigree things, and then I'd have to solder on a thing on the back and then put bolo tie. I mean, it was like piecework, and it was the same thing over and over and over and over again. And the solder smoke in my eyes, and I probably was using lead solder. I probably have, my glasses got tumors on them. But yeah, it was no fun. So I hate soldering. Alex is pretty good. He's made a couple DIY kits. In fact, he made a really, really close replica of Johnny Greenwood's Telecaster, to the point where Alex actually designed the stickers and had them made. And he sells the stickers because you can't find those stickers anywhere that he has on his guitar. And he'll sell them for like $25 a pop. It's crazy because he had a whole bunch made and he's been selling them off. But he actually made the guitar, did a video about it on YouTube, and he got offers. And somebody paid him, I forget, they paid him like twice what it cost him to make. So he went, what the heck, I can make another one if I want one. But he got the same pickups as Johnny, and the same body, same era, the same pick guard, the same everything he did. I mean, he knew exactly what Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead. That's a Radiohead. But yeah, so I don't really have a recommendation for that. And I'm also not a modifier. The other thing I do with like the cheap Squires is I take the strings and do weird things with them. But other than that, I'm not really modding things too much. If I don't like the sound of a guitar that I own, I probably just put it away and then figure it later. It's a lot of times if a guitar doesn't sound good, it's because you're going through the wrong pedals or the wrong amp. For a long time, I had a pedal that I just thought I bought because everybody had one, and I hated it. But I was playing a Strat through it, and everybody I liked played Les Pauls through it, and it sounds glorious with a Les Paul through it. It sounds pretty, not glorious, but it sounds pretty good with Les Paul. It's a blue distortion pedal. The Full Drive 2. And so many of my favorite guitar players had it, and I bought one, and it was cool. I hated it. I couldn't get a good sound out of it with my Strat. But it really likes humbucker pickups, so that's I still own it. I didn't get rid of it. I try not to get rid of anything. But yeah, I don't mod guitars at all. I just find ones I like and then I keep them. But I do. I told you the story about my friend Dave, who had a better job than me and had better equipment. I was a full-time musician, but he had a lot more money than I had. He had much better gear than I had. He had a really nice, Mesa Boogie rack system and everything, and he had Tom Anderson guitars. But he was complaining. He's like, "Yeah, I don't like these standard pickups. I'm going to put in these other pickups, And I picked up his guitar and I played through his rig, and it sounded so good. And he was like, "Going, yeah, dude, it sounds good when you play it. And he changes the pickups out, and I see him a month later, and I go, oh, he goes, oh, check out the new pickups. And I go, oh, okay, cool. And I play it, and I said, oh, man, this sounds amazing. And he goes, yeah, I kind of like it, but I'm thinking of trying these other pickups. And he literally swapped it out again. And every time he did it, I was like, it sounds good to me. It's a guitar, right? Through an amp. I mean, I don't know. I just like it. I'm like, okay, it sounds great to me. And he was like, yeah, it sounds great when you play it. But he was already thinking about changing, And so, I get that. And the grass is always greener. And, a lot of guitar players are always looking for that magic bullet. And they're maybe looking for their sound. And that's not necessarily something to not do. Finding your sound, if you're looking to be an artist. See, I have to find everybody's sound because they're saying, can you do a John Mayer take on this? Or can you do Stevie Ray Vaughan? Or can you do, Carlos Santana or George Benson or whatever? I kind of have to have them all like halfway there so that I can fake people out. Anyway, let's see. See you later, Leo. That's a pretty good deal, iced coffee. Yeah, All Parts is not cheap though, right? I mean, if you go to All Parts and buy like really good neck and a really good body and a really good pickup, I mean, if I were to do that, I would probably get a pick guard that had everything already loaded into it, right? So that all I have to do is kind of drop it in. And the only wiring I have to do would be, soldering I'd have to do would be go into the jack. That I probably could do, and putting in a tremolo, that I wouldn't probably necessarily have a problem with. I could probably do it. I don't know if it saves a lot of money, but the drag about that is you can't pick it up and play it before you buy it. And that would be my, the thing I like about going to the store is I can go, okay, let me check out this guitar, let me plug it in. So, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see if I buy anything new before the end of the year. I'm getting close to that time of the year. Usually around December 1st, I kind of run through my taxes and go, okay, do I need to buy something to get a write-off or whatever? But I don't know if I'm going to, I bought some stuff already this year, but I don't know if I'll buy anything. I don't think there's anything I direly need, but you miss guitar stores. Yeah. There's still, I went to Guitar Center the other day. They got some protocols in place, but I think it's just because you're not close to guitar stores, right, Holly? It's not that they're closed. I'm playing the G minor 6 pentatonic right here. Yeah, that's a drag. An hour is pretty far away. You kind of have to put a bunch of trips, together in one. You have to go to the tires. Well, that's a drag. Yeah, you want to drive an hour to the tire store. But yeah, go to the guitar store and go to the fabric store and go to the whatever. We think about someday moving, potentially retiring somewhere out of California. And that's one of the things where it's like, I kind of like living in the city, but I also kind of would love to have the solitude of being out in the middle of nowhere, but there's a price. And that means when you want to go to do something as simple as go to a guitar store, it's a no small task. So, tire store is only half an hour. That's good. So you only have to limp an hour. I just say that because on Sunday I had a flat tire and I put my spare on. My spare was flat and was like, dang it. And then I went and got Beth's car, and her car, the check engine light came on, and I'm like, dang it. It was like, man, the car demons were out on Sunday. Oh my gosh. And then I ended up probably spending way too much for a tire to replace the one I had, but I just wanted to get it done. Hey, Paul Meyer, good to see you. Yeah, no, there definitely was a time where it's called GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome, where I had gas. Alex is actually almost to the point where I think he's past it, past gas. At 28 years old, he's got a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of gear. He's been buying gear for, since he was 12. And with his own money, he's been buying stuff. So he's got quite a good collection of stuff. And of course, he also knows when I die, he gets all of my crap. So he's, and he knows he can borrow anything of mine and vice versa. So you see we actually own one guitar together, and you can see it right now. Can you see the different instrument that's on the wall? Anybody notice it? No one said anything, I don't think. Yeah, yeah. Or house sitting for Tom, exactly. Right, Bruce? No, I can get to Guitar Center in 10 minutes. Maybe 15. Not much traffic going over to that part. It's right by the mall. And although Guitar Center, it's funny because I went into Guitar Center and the acoustic room was really empty. And I thought, oh, are they going out of business? And they said, no, they've just been selling all the cheap guitars because so many people are taking up guitar during COVID. Their business has really been good. So I thought that was interesting. Yes, Gary, you're right. This is actually a 60s Hofner Beetle bass that was given to Alex and me by a very generous man who wanted to bless us. So I thought it's pretty darn cool. It's really 100% legit. He's even got flat wounds on it, so I just love it. It almost feels like a fretless bass. And such a skinny neck. It's a great neck for... But it's just like a Beatle, Paul McCartney bass. I don't know if it's the exact same model. It's 66, I think. So it's obviously Paul's was in early 60s, but it's just beautiful. And I was using it on a track yesterday for a pop record. Also, I did. Remember I told you about that song that came out a couple months ago with this artist, Benny Main. It's called I Ain't the S Word. I Ain't Jeez. We did, he asked me if I would be, I said, are you sure you want an old man in there with a, but he asked me to be in the video. He wanted to do an acoustic video. So we actually shot this last month. Yeah, last month. And I'll give you the link here so you can go watch it. What we did, yeah, here it is, acoustic video. Come on, we need more views. But I wrote the guitar on this. So Sam Hook, who's a really good writer, he and I have written I think he said we've written like 75 songs together. We've only gotten a few released, but he wrote the top line on this, so these are not my lyrics. The title of the song is actually the cleanest part of the song. But, yeah, sugar. Shazam, shoot, exactly. Shebop. So anyway, you can check it out. That's my Loudon Direct. Of all my acoustic guitars with pickups, that one has, the Loudon is a split saddle. So there's only one company that makes a split saddle pickguard, and it's, is it Rocky Mountain or... Gosh darn it, Smoky Mountain. I can't remember. Something Mountain pickups. And it is the best sounding direct pickup of all of them. And I was pretty impressed with the sound quality of that thing. So that's me. We're playing in this, multiple cameras. Girl, if I said I got $1 in a dream, I'll be like... Oh, sorry, I'm going to get in trouble there. Now we're going to have problems. I'm going to have to cut out that part of the video. That's okay. YouTube's cool about that. They'll let me actually cut out that part. If it gets picked up, we'll see. It's pretty, I mean, he's a good singer. He's kind of like a Post Malone type. I would love for him to get, a little bit bigger. He and I have written some songs together too, but that song was written by me and Sam Hook. And and then I've got a couple more coming out with this other kid next month who's I've been working with, really good, hardworking songwriter named Miles Wesley. I think that's going to be his name, or Miles Shepard. I'm not sure. He was on Boy Band for ABC in one of the bands, and that was kind of a lame. He knew what it was going to be when it was, and I don't know if he regrets it. He got a lot of Instagram followers from being on the show. So that helps when the record comes out. You've got more people to promote your music and stuff. So, oh, you got an Ibanez Red. Is that acoustic or electric? The Geo X70. Oh, Jeff, you're looking at that video. Yeah, it sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And we did probably 6 takes. So that might be a hybrid of takes. I'm not sure. The audio may be from one and the video may be from another. I played the click so we could do it that way. And I tried to play it about the same. About 200 euros, not bad. Oh, the Pacifica, yeah. Oh, that's an electric, okay. One of Alex's first guitar was a Pacifica that I don't remember if somebody gave it to me or I bought. I can't remember. Alex bought. I'm pretty sure. I know I got Alex some guitars, but he wanted more guitars than I could afford to buy him. So he started making money early enough, and he's been able to buy stuff. So anyway, gosh, it's been 2 hours, you guys. Okay, and I'm sorry. Apologize to. I'm sure he's not there anymore, but Riffing for Life or whatever your name is. I know I stopped teaching about 45 minutes ago, but I did teach pretty long on this lesson. We're gonna do the next shapes up. We're gonna stick with this 3 pentatonics in blues thing, yeah, that was a cool. Those are. It's funny. There's an app you can get where you can scout locations. People rent those out, and it comes with. I'll mute it because that way I can see it. But it's that was a location that people rent. That box, you see that box there? That was a whole other room that they designed that was kind of made to look like a trap house. It had like fake $100 bills everywhere and fake heroin needles, that kind of stuff, So, and he shot one of the videos. And so if you go to his, if you click on if you click on his name, how am I? Oh, I am subscribed. Okay. But if you click on his name and you can see the other videos that what's his name? Julian Garcia did. He played on the other 3. He did 4 acoustic videos, unplugged versions of his record. Now the funny thing is about this one, the song originally on the record, the original version, is just acoustic guitar and him. So this is no different than the recording. It's just a performance. So the recording sounds almost identical, and so but the other ones are the acoustic versions of more produced out tracks. Oh, thank you, Jeff. Thanks for linking up on a Twitch thing. Jensen's. I like the blue frame Jensens are what I have in my. They're amazing in my Sears Twin 12. That's an amp that if you can find one, not a bad little amp. It's kind of like a Fender Twin but quieter, and it's got the most glorious tremolo and the most heinous reverb. It's like this. It's like how did this happen? The reverb on that thing is awful, but the tremolo is beautiful. It's just not very deep. But that's a Sears Twin 12. I think it was it's a two 12-inch speakers. That's how they came up with the name. It's 2 channels. If you can find one of those, now you may have to put some money into it to get it up and running, and it may not be a great. The cool thing is the head fits behind in the cabinet, so you end up walking around. It's a piggyback amp, but you can put the head in the back of the cabinet. It's got a spaceport with these little things that flip down to lock it in place. So that's really cool. I love that. I like that better than the Twin. But if I'm gonna hit the road, I'm not the Twin. I'm sorry. I like that better than the Deluxe for just playing around with. But if I'm gonna hit the road, probably the Deluxe is gonna be. And when I'm asking for backline at a gig, I ask for Deluxes. No one's gonna have a Twin 12, and I wouldn't want one because they're old and cheap. And but that's kind of what you know me with cheap stuff. I like cheap stuff. And I just bought I just got the Jim Dandy, And what I did with this thing to get for pop stuff is I tuned it down a whole step, and then I capoed. So, you know, it has a really lo-fi. This is the first lo-fi acoustic I've had. Well, that's not true. I left those with Alex. I have a couple of Stellas that I gave to Alex when we moved. What does channels refer to in regards to amp? Some amps have multiple channels. Originally, the reason was, and it's a bad reason, was so that two guitar players could plug into the same amp. In fact, on a Fender Twin, you have 4 inputs. I'm like, really? Really? I mean, what's the purpose? Why would you need 4 inputs? You have channel 1 has 2 and channel 2 has 2. And usually what they do with those amps is they separate them. A Fender Twin has 2 channels. And one channel is just like, right? Fender Twins have 2 channels, right? But one channel has just volume, tone, volume, bass, and treble. And then the other one has volume, bass, treble, tremolo, reverb. You know, one's like an effects channel and the other. And you could set up an A-B button so that you could switch between channels. I don't know that that was a big thing in the 60s, but A-B switchers, but it's not difficult to make and to buy, obviously. So you can have 2 different settings on your amp. So, and that's generally what, when you have multi-channels, a lot of amps have, like you can get Mesa Boogie amps that have 4 channels. And it comes with a pedal, and you can switch between the 4 channels. So you can dial up different tones on each channel, okay? So, yeah, Bob. And, you know what else I have, too, which is funny? It's in the closet, I think. But I have a Heathkit amp that we got for like 35, 60, 50 bucks or something like that. Okay, so I better get going. It's time. Oh, Flip Top Amp Tech's great. Yeah, it needs a transformer. Yeah. If you can get, I don't know that you need a vintage transformer, but look up Mercury for the Mercury transformers. They really make the best ones. I know the owner, and it's here in the Valley. Mercury Transformers, right? Yeah. Look up Mercury. He's a complete nerd with like getting like the vintage. Because it's hard to find a vintage transformer because that's one of those things on an amp that busts. So trying to find a vintage transformer is hard. So he makes them very, very similar to how they made them. Obviously, I think for environmental reasons they have to change how they make them. But anyway, that's that. Okay. Oh yeah, Silvertone for harmonica. Yeah, I forgot about that. So anyway, okay, I better log off. It's getting too late. I gotta get some work done today. Okay, God bless everybody. I'll see you Monday. We'll move up the neck a couple frets, and then next Friday I may not be here. I may do a remote, but for the most part I probably won't. So I will talk to you later. Bye.